Hi everyone, welcome to the third week of our live stream event. Jackie is here with us. Hi Jackie.
Hi, Kat.
All right, this week we will be discussing nutrition after cancer treatment. But before we move into that, I want to go over some questions I got after the live stream last week. The one question is, what about people who have dry mouth? What's something they can do to help out with that?
So, from a nutrition standpoint, whenever we have dry mouth, the salivary glands aren't producing enough saliva to make it comfortable to eat. So, then I would suggest going to the more moister foods. So, using gravies, again, going back to those liquid foods that go down a whole lot easier, and the soft foods. So, the soft textures like mashed potatoes or noodles or cooking your vegetables to the softer texture instead of the crispier texture. So we're really looking for soft, moist, smaller pieces,
Okay.
chewing well. Um, Second thing that you can do is check with your team because there's some medications out there that will help. If you've got sores in the mouth or if you've got dry mouth, there's some medications like magic mouthwash or some rinses. And then the third thing is um, I don't know if anybody out there has ever sucked on a lemon, but that really gets the salivary glands going. And so I'm not suggesting you suck on a lemon, especially if you have sores going on.
Right.
But if you flavor with citrus, that might help as well. So we're really looking for soft, moist foods, smaller pieces and bites, um, medications from the team. Um, And then you can always use, I don't want to fill up on ice chips, but you might be able to freeze some orange juice in ice cube trays and suck on those.
Okay.
Or we've got those swabs that, the sponge swabs on the end. You could wet that and put that in the freezer. And so you'll have it like on a stick, an icicle on a stick. Things like that would help.
Okay.
Okay,
That sounds good.
sounds good.
Let's see. Let's go into this week's topic. We're discussing nutrition after cancer treatment. So
Yeah.
last week we talked about how to get nutrition and things like that during cancer treatment when you may not be feeling well. Um, but what is considered, after treatment?
So a lot of times in our heads, after treatment is after the last treatment is administered, after the last treatment date. But I would really like to encourage everyone to look at the fact that treatment is still happening in the body for about 6 to 8 weeks after the last treatment. So, our session last time where we talked about healthy eating during treatment, I would really like to encourage those going through treatment to look at it for that month and a half, 2 months after the last treatment. Continue to monitor your weight, continue to make sure you're getting in enough calories, continue to make sure that they're all nutrient dense foods, like the 5 food groups balance that we've touched on. But then when we talk about after treatment, now here's the time where you can apply all the things that you learned about healthy eating during treatment. We
Okay.
can't just forget about those 5 food groups being so healthy for us. That's how everyone should be eating, balancing those food groups. But at this point, if you had more weight on your structure, then this is the time where you can look at, well, is there anything I can do to bring myself back to a healthier weight or down to a healthier weight or up to a healthier weight? It doesn't always have to be that we start off, overweight. Sometimes we're starting off underweight.
Okay. What are some things that do after that uh, to help get back to those healthy weights?
So it's about the balancing food groups for sure. It's about an appropriate amount of food. So not skipping meals, again, still trying to eat those 3 meals a day. so that your body reawakens its hunger if you've lost it during treatment. And it's also about healthy lifestyles. So it's about moving more. It's about taking those gentle walks. It's about, if you have the energy or you build back to the energy, to actually go to a gym and work with a trainer so you can build muscle back. um, Muscle burns calories 24/7. And as we get wiser, I always like to say as we get wiser, not as we get older, but as we get wiser, we're really good at breaking muscle down and building fat up. So now's the time to take care of yourself. The biggest thing is that we don't want to go, we don't want to have the cancer reappear if we can help. And
Okay.
so we want to continue to eat healthy for the cells. We want to continue to move the body, exercise, move, eat well, so that hopefully those cells don't turn back on and we stay in remission.
Okay. Um, what about, things to remain like your meal to remain nutrient dense? Like, what does that mean?
So when we look at those food groups, those 5 food groups, proteins, which include animal meats, but protein is in every food group. Not so much fruit unless it's prepared with a dairy product, but straight fruit won't have protein. But protein, starches and grains, the starchy vegetables, the pasta, the rice, um, fruit, milk or dairy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm missing one, Cat. What's the 5th food group? Protein, non-starchy vegetables,
Non-starchy vegetables.
starches and grains, fruit, and milk.
Okay.
So the question was, what does nutrient dense food look like? And so it's the foods that come from those food groups. So let's compare and contrast. Nutrients are vitamins and minerals.
Mm-hmm.
So those foods that are high in vitamins and minerals per bite, chicken, vegetables, fruit, milk, yogurt, versus energy dense,
Okay.
nutrient dense, energy dense, which are high in calories per bite, which are the cookies, the cakes, the potato chips, where when I take a bite, it's high in calories and low in vitamins and minerals. So we want to focus more on the nutrient dense versus the energy dense. Did that clear that?
That does, yeah. What about people who were asked to alter their diets, during treatment? Maybe that you were told to eat low sodium or high protein. Uh,
Right.
is that something you should maintain? And if you should, how long? Or how do you transition back to eating, um, you know, I guess more of the balanced diet than like a high protein diet?
That is an excellent point to bring up. So during treatment, we really focus on being nutrient dense and making sure that the cells have what they need to repair, rebuild, replace, heal. And many times, most of the time, we ask for increased protein. And we ask, if someone goes into treatment with diabetes, we ask them not to use it as a green card to just go ahead and eat all the carbs that they want. But
Right.
we do say, suspend that and go nutrient dense. And if we have to help with the blood sugar levels, we can do that with medications at this time. Um, Sodium, it's just healthy for everyone to pull sodium levels down. So, sodium, we just don't want to salt everything. We don't want to go processed foods. Most of the sodium in the general public diet comes from restaurants and processed foods. Because I can't tell you how many people will tell me, well, I don't salt anything, but their actual daily intake is high.
Right.
So, just as an aside, the American Heart Association says the goal for anyone with risk for heart disease or any associate heart disease or any associated heart disease, it's 1,500 milligrams a day, and from all sources. And the general population, it's 2,400 milligrams, which is a teaspoon. The details aren't important. 2,400 is an actual teaspoon from all sources. And that's not added, that's what's in our food, and it's in everything because it's a mineral in the ground.
Right.
So you can actually do it. It's achievable. It's not an easy goal, but it's achievable, especially if you pull away from the processed. So just as a quick recap, you were saying you were asking if someone was told to go high protein or high sodium or low sodium, and I added in counting carbs for those individuals with
Right.
diabetes. After treatment is the time to go back to watching what is healthy for your structure at the time.
Okay.
You may not need as high a protein intake. And that would be something that you would talk with your doc about, you know, that protein count was during treatment. But now, at my age, at my weight, what should my protein? And or talk with the dietitian nutritionist. We can do that assessment as well. Um, but the carbs, you need to go back to monitoring those so you can control your blood sugar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And that's, all doctor based. Make sure that you want to make sure you're talking to your oncologists or your primary care physicians during that as well, right?
Yes, or get a referral to the dietitian, the registered dietitian nutritionist, like me,
Like you.
or like the whole team at the
Right.
hospital. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um, that's the questions I have. Is there any other information you think that people should know about after, cancer treatment?
Yeah. So, what I pulled up, what Kat and I were talking about before, you and I, Kat, were talking about
Yep.
before, was after treatment. We were so focused on eating healthy that it really drove the things that we could eat, that we felt like eating, that we had the appetite to eat. And now that we're feeling better, I really want to focus on the fact that now is the time to get back to that healthy weight, and now is the time to get back into those healthy lifestyle choices. Quit pulling back on alcohol if you drink, quitting smoking, wearing your seatbelt,
Right.
moving, getting to that gym or just outside walks. But also expand, now that you might have more energy, expand how you pull these nutrient dense foods together.
Okay.
So, Kat, I think you have a website, the AICR, the American Institute for Cancer Research.
I do. And this actually goes along with, we had some questions about, recipes and everything, so this will help them out as well. So,
So there are a lot of sites out there like this, but I like this site because it's tailored specifically to those individuals, both going through cancer treatment and then survivors on the other side of cancer treatment. And
okay.
so if you just scroll down a little bit, Kat, this is the opening page for the American Institute for Cancer Research. Um, and I just Googled, internet searched that and recipes. And we've just got pages and pages of
Yep.
appetizers, the specific meals, drinks, beverages, entrees,
Entrees, beverages,
hmm
yeah,
salads.
different salads.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to modify these recipes. If there's an ingredient that you don't care for, leave it out. If you don't care for cilantro, put parsley in or skip it altogether. If there's an ingredient there that maybe you're not familiar with, it might be a time to explore and experiment and learn a new flavor.
Interesting. Pastas. Yeah,
Mhm.
there's all sorts of information here, and we will be including these links on our Facebook as well for people who want to check these out for any of the sites that we have here.
Kat, pull all the way back up to the top if you would.
Yep. Scroll quickly. Don't want to.
I want to point out the other resources on this American Institute for Cancer Research site.
Okay.
Across this top, you've got to the left cancer prevention, but then you also have cancer survival.
Hmm.
And this might be an interesting tab since we're talking about after treatment. And if you just scroll down on this page, you'll see that they've got lots of sublinks in here. Coping with cancer
Right.
in the
There's
kitchen
a
right here.
after treatment link right there as well.
Before, during, and after, and then the coping with cancer in the kitchen, foods that fight cancer. So this is a really rich site.
Yeah, survivor recipes there. Yeah, this looks like
Yeah.
good information.
And it's evidence based, science based. So we're pretty confident in the research that comes out of the American Institute for Cancer Research.
Awesome.
There are other sites for recipes. Last time we talked about Ensure in Live as
Yes.
a supplemental drink, an oral nutrition supplement. So if you Google Ensure in Live recipes,
Hmm.
Kat, you might have that one
I
up.
think we do have that one. I believe that's this one here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On that page, we've got lots of recipes that you can use Ensure in. And so these, again, are those fortified recipes where instead of just having bread pudding, we actually have bread pudding that has some punch to it. More
Great.
calories, more nutrients, more vitamins and minerals.
Yeah, there's that nutty butter shake. Kind of sounds like
Yeah.
the peanut butter one we were talking about last week.
Yeah, and look here too. It's not just shakes. They've used the Ensure in a quiche. They've used it in a soup. I've seen recipes where they've used it in mashed potatoes or
Yep,
other
there's a sweet
casseroles.
potato smash there.
Exactly. So you can use it in a lot. And just like Ensure has these pages for recipes, um, Boost also does the same thing.
Oh,
So
that's
if you're a
good.
fan of Boost recipes using Boost, and you'll come up with those.
Awesome.
I want to share something because the glucerna on that page right there
Yes.
is the Abbott product, is that level, that grouping of products that is typically used for individuals with diabetes because it's a low carb. So I'm kind of anticipating questions that from the viewers because it's a question I always get. Should I be using glucerna because I have diabetes? And I would say during treatment, no, because if
Okay.
you'll look, it's only 10 grams of protein on that label and it's only 190 calories. So during treatment, no, we want to make sure you're getting protein and nutrients and calories. But certainly after treatment, when you're going back to controlling the carbs, glucerna is the better option at that point.
Okay, so like this, that would be, if you had diabetes or
Yes.
that would be your after treatment version to take to
Yes.
have. Okay,
Yes. Yes.
awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then that's shows you which one to use. So oh, we're over top of it, but it's the. But yeah, that's great information.
Kat, was there another recipe page that we pulled?
I think yes, we may have the American Cancer Society's page as well. So
Yes. Yes.
yep.
And I will say this too. And this is a little overlap from last week's session during cancer treatment. Both the American Cancer Society
Uh-huh.
and the American Institute for Cancer Research, on their site, on each of their site, they have a booklet for treatment before, during, and after. Um, Tips for before, during, and after. And
Okay.
it's a PDF that's available on both sites. It is the same scope of information, but they present it in different ways. But what I like about it is it's not a booklet. They're not booklets to read cover to cover, but they're reference books.
Okay.
So if you look at the index, say you're having dry mouth, then you look at the index and dry mouth, and you go to that page, and there are tips and tricks on how to deal with that.
Oh, that's great.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, both of these sites have their own version of that helpful booklet.
That's this one, and then also, oh, I keep clicking on the wrong spot. This one here.
Yes. Yes.
Perfect. Awesome. We have a few viewers this week. Hi, TC. And does anyone have any questions from the people who are watching? Again, if you don't ask a question today, we are doing one more week of this, and you can send it to us after the fact, and then we will get to it, next week. But yeah, let's see. Does anyone have any questions? Let me go back to this screen here. Let me look at our other sites just to see. All right, I don't have any right now, but like I said, you can send them in after the fact. We will be getting them, answering them next week. Next week is our food demo, where you will get to see a lot of the things that we've been talking about the last 3 weeks. On a plate with real food. So I hope everyone tunes into that. Thank you, Jackie, for
Sure, Kat.
tonight, and giving us all the great information. Uh, Next week, again, is our final live stream. We will be recapping everything for everyone, as well as the food demo. So if you have any other questions or topics that you would like us to answer, be sure to send them to us. I'm going to say bye to Jackie right now,
Thanks,
and
Kat.
we'll see
Bye.
you next week. Be sure to watch all of our past live streams. You can see them on YouTube. There is a designated playlist with everything that we've talked about over the last 3 weeks. Or you can search them on our website, which is uh, wecareohio.org. And then also here on Facebook, they are in all of our past videos. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in this week, and we'll see you next week.